Alright guys, today I'm gonna tell you a story that basically defined like our squad back in the Special Forces. It was fucking nuts. So if you listen to the whole thing, you'll be like, what the fuck, Nico? Why did you do this? I promise. Okay, so this was back in the Special Forces in September of 2020. And we were doing training with boats. So we have these inflatable boats, we have an engine on, and we had just been at the range doing some shooting, with shooting from land and shooting out of the boats from out from the sea. And it was pretty, the waves were okay. Little bit difficult to shoot from the boats, but regardless, we got the job done. And after we were done there, the instructors, they told us that, yeah, go around this island and then come back. Because just to get some training with driving the boats and navigating. And so we are thinking, well, that doesn't look too bad, it's just around this island. And we didn't think that too much of it. We were like, yeah, excited to just go around this, get back home, get a burger and a Coke, and start doing maintenance on our equipment. And so we head off, we pack up our boats, we put the guns in, we put everything in, we secure everything, and we head off. And we head towards this island. We go north first. So this island, we go north first, then you go east, then you go south, and then you go west, back into in a circle, back to base. And so as we tag along, we follow the shore of the island basically. And we think, the weather is like, it's little bit, it's not too bad. As we sail off, we call it sailing, even though we have motors, engine, and it's just an inflatable big boat. Very durable though, for being an inflatable one. So as we, navigate along the coastline, we get up to the top left or northwestern part of the island. And at this point, the waves start picking up. The weather starts picking up. We're like, wow, okay, quite large waves here. No problem. We just find a way inside the shoreline, or the inside the coast basically, so we're a little bit protected, because from the northwestern part here, the whole ocean, the Norwegian Ocean, the big boy ocean, it comes in. Everything. This is some of the worst weather in the world that comes straight into it. So you kind of want to avoid that and shield yourself from it. So we take this small route inside. And when we take this small route, it was so shallow, the waters. So we kind of had to jump out of the boats, and we had these waterproof suits and everything. We look really good in it. I'll post a picture right here. You can see how it looks on me. So we use those when we jump from rocks to rocks, trying to guide our boats through with the engine going. So we kind of stand on the guy in the front. He jumps out, he stands on a rock, guides the boat through, and then jumps back in when the back of the boat comes sailing through. And so we do that for, I don't know how many times, an hour. We navigate through this shallow part. And then, the road, the waterway leads back into the open ocean. And we thought we had made a pretty good decision, going through these shallower, more calm waters. And then we turn out. I remember this. Just, it's like in my mind, it's kind of blurry, but I just remember this thing. We turn out around the corner or something. And what meets us is this fucking wave, bro. I swear to God, it was like something out of a fucking movie. It felt like a giant's hand coming up and just crushing. It was out of this world. I don't know how many meters exact, but if you were there, you'd be like, holy shit. Because that was what we were thinking. And we face this thing head on. That's the best way to face a wave. Just going straight on it, not going sideways, because it isn't going to tip over. We face it head on, and we go to the peak, and then we go down. And we see just a fucking ocean of all these waves. It goes like, bam. All the waves that meets us, comes towards us, are like this. It's fucking nuts. And so we start handling it, and my focus, I don't remember if I was the cox, the guy who handles the motor, or if I was navigating, or if I was just looking out, sitting there. But I remember that my focus was just to try and keep, looking out for the other boats, because we were 3 boats at that time, I think 12 guys or something. I also tried just trying to look out for these guys, because you couldn't see them between the waves. The wave was so big, we couldn't see each other. So after each wave, I tried to pick up, okay, this guy's there, and try to keep track of them so we didn't lose anyone, because I was like, what the fuck is this? And then this takes a long time to navigate, even though we're on the northern side of the island already and about to, go east for a while, then turn back south and, etc. And it starts getting dark. It starts getting dark within all this. It's funny to think back at this stuff. And when we turn north and we face this fucking wave, the waves were coming towards us. Now, as it turned darker and darker, as far as I can remember, the waves started turning more and more towards the east. So they started following us in the direction we wanted to go, which was both a curse and a blessing, because the waves were so big that we could, as the light got darker, so we started surfing the fucking waves with a boat. Not with a surfboat, with a boat. The waves were this big. Started surfing. You could actually we could glide down the waves. It's nuts. And we put our lights on. It's just a safety thing to try and keep track of the lights. And it was so difficult trying to keep track of where everyone was at that time. Because you couldn't see the lights. Like, you saw the lights, one light there, then a wave would come, and then the lights were completely different direction. I had to look like this, okay, there's the lights again. And always have to look at each wave. And this is probably where this was funny, because we had a problem and another boat had a problem, as far as I could remember. So we were surfing down all these waves in the fucking darkness, pitch black, only the lights from the shore, from the houses that we could see, so it's not that much. And as we surf down this wave, when we come to the bottom of it, our engine starts falling off. Our engine on the boat, and we go like, holy shit, like, can't believe it. The engine go like on sideways and hanging on by just this metal thing. And I remember the guy was steering the boat, and he asked, the engine's falling off. And so, luckily for us though, we had there's this safety line attached to the engine. And even though it doesn't come completely off, we start getting the waves, because we can't, navigate our boat with this. The waves start catching up with us, and we start almost drifting sideways with the waves, surfing sideways. And surfing sideways on a wave is absolutely a horrible condition. And I don't remember if we got the motor fixed before that happened, or before, we got taken by the wave too much. But through this storm, we had to sit there and fix our engine, put our engine back on, and start screwing it in and everything. And another team at this point, at this almost the exact same point, they ran out of motor oil on their boat. So within all these waves as well. Now remind you, the winds per second here, I calculated this before I made the video, just because I want to give you guys in the US some pinpoint on what we exactly were going through. The winds were 42 meters a second. That was measured on a bridge just up east from where we were. 42 meters a second. That is fucking nuts, okay? That is 93 miles per hour for all you who deal with those numbers. 93 miles per hour. I don't know if you've been in weather that's the same, but that's fucking nuts, okay? These are winds that people, you put out warnings for people not to go outside. And we were out there in the mist of night in boats. And we have a crew now who doesn't have motor oil in their engine. So they have to scramble up to this, emergency. We have this little box of, emergency. We have screwdrivers and everything. We have motor oil. And they have to take the lid off the engine within all these waves. And they have to start pouring motor oil. With all this wind coming in. And, we link up with them a little bit after, through all this storm. So we go side by side and they go like, oh, yeah, we ran out of motor oil. And we go like, what? Because that's fucking nuts. Sitting there, pouring the oil in. Then after we linked up with them, we're side by side holding onto the boats and we're like strategizing what to do next. And we're trying to look for the other guys. And it's so difficult to see where they are. Through all these, pitch black darkness and everything, we think we might be seeing them in the distance with their lights going on. It is impossible to get a fix on where they are. But, we continue. We think we have a, slight knowledge of where they are exactly, trying to follow the lights between the waves. We try to stay close to each other now that we have actually been side by side and found each other, me and the other boat, or us and the other boat, of course. It's important to stay close in these situations when there's low visibility, and so you can communicate and keep track of where, each other are. The worst thing that could ever happen was that we would run into each other. That would be an absolutely horrible situation. But we continue eastwards through the storm, and we see some lights on the shoreline. And this is weird because there's a car, kind of blinking at us as we continue through the storm. And we realized that this is the instructors. Now the instructors, they fucking hated us. It's like a hazing situation where the instructor wasn't supposed to be our friends at all. And so them being there, showing to us that, okay, they're with us, that was weird. And that meant that, okay, yeah, this is, what it is, and they realize that this is fucking crazy as well. But we continue when you have the instructors on the shoreline, we see them occasionally. We can't see them always because we can't see the road all the time, but we continue towards this, we're about to turn east and south, and then we meet up with this, there's 3 waters that link up basically. This is all part of the ocean. And then you have the bridge onto this thing that measured the speed, right? And so when we push into that, triangle, I guess, the wind is coming from all directions. And it creates this fucking mayhem of waves. We get an onslaught of just hammering of waves. The waves aren't that big here because it's closer to shore, less close to the fucking, big ocean. But it's just like hammering us with waves from all angles. It's crazy because it's not coming from just one angle like you would expect the waves. It's coming from this in opposite directions. And so it splashes us so much with the water, and with the winds, this just creates like a big bitch slap from Mother Nature. So every time a wave would come, the wind would just throw the water like, and it hurts so much in the face. So we had to start navigating with one guy, the Cox, who's navigating the boat. He was doing the whole thing. He was navigating, he was driving, because he had some goggles, and meanwhile we are just covering down, just trying to see something, because it's so painful sitting there in the boat. And I remember it's much easier to keep track of each other now, the other boats, because the waves are a bit smaller, but even though the winds are crazy. And I remember as we start navigating down west again, we are like side by side with another boat. And I remember we see this other boat next to us, right? We have winds coming towards us. And this boat, it kind of bounces off a wave. And the wind grabs a hold of the boat and almost flips it mid-air, like straight up. This is a heavy boat, by the way. It's a fucking heavy boat. We have, tanks full of air, spare air to like refill the boats with. It's all this equipment, guns, everything, backpacks, and the wind just goes like the boat goes like this, and then it just flips, goes like this, and then the wind just goes poof. But luckily, it doesn't go all the way. It stops, like they go like almost vertical, and then it goes down again. But we go like, holy shit, that almost happened. So you know, I think that was like the big, you know, the worst part of it over. But we continue towards east here. I don't know how long this took, because no way. I mean, we continue towards the west, and I don't know really how long we were out there, but I'm guessing 4, 5 hours, 6 hours maybe, on a trip that should have taken us, I don't know, maybe an hour. If you had, you know, proper speed. But we go west again, and we are pretty much recovered from the big ocean. There's still big winds coming towards us, and we navigate through it towards, you know, home base. And when we get to home base, the normal like place where we're supposed to park the boat, I don't know what it's called in English. The instructors are there. They're standing there, and they're like screaming at us, "Oh, go over there, go over there." We can't even hear them. But that we just, you know, them being out there in the first place, because they wouldn't be there unless shit had gone down. So we were like, okay. Fucking nuts. So we parked some over place. We, you know, take the necessary equipment and we leave the rest, just trying to get inside. And when we get inside, you know, we're able to calm down finally. We're able to breathe. And the instructors, they gather us in this hall. And they tell us basically to close our eyes and raise our hands if we would have done this same exact thing again or not, or would have, you know, stayed, just, you know, stayed the night. And I remember I chose to, we probably should have stayed the night, because we wouldn't have thought, we closed our eyes so we would make an independent choice. But I stood by that. I don't think that was a really good idea. Now, in hindsight, today, I probably would have made a different choice, because I think that going through these rough waters was actually such a good experience. It, you know, defined our squad and our, you know, course. And it was truly a, like, very good experience in the end, but it was quite shit. I must tell you. But it's funny because when we, I didn't mention this part, but when we were, you know, considering, we were taking a lunch break from the driving, it started to go on dark already. We were driving into this was like midway through the thing. We drove into this little calmer place of water, and we, you know, grabbed some food, grabbed some snacks, and we were contemplating. We were like, shit, is this gonna be the whole way? And we had these emergency GPS things that the instructor could send messages on. Now, this was in the bottom of the bag, probably not the best place to place it. And so we, after the lunch break, we just continued on our trip through all these waves and everything. And I remember when we got back to after we've had the hand racing thing, or before, I don't remember, doesn't matter. We look at this emergency thing, and the instructors had told us, like 5 minutes after we'd taken off from a lunch break, they told us, like, stay where you are, camp there overnight, and come back in tomorrow. Because they saw what we were seeing, but they were a bit too late for sending us the message, and us not seeing it, because we, as you know, decided to venture out there and conquer the sea, basically. But I guess the moral of the story is that, you know, rough waters, they make you stronger. Or I mean, what doesn't kill you make you stronger? Because that was a real possibility of it all. I had that worry at some point. I didn't really worry about it. It was like, shit, this is bad. And but it was a good experience in the end. And if I, you know, were to teleport back into the start of it right now, I probably would. Because, you know, you're with the boys and shit goes down, you get back in, everyone's safe, and that's a good feeling. So, I mean, this whole thing was just fucking nuts. It's absolutely fucking crazy. It's difficult to explain in words, but yeah, just want to share that with you guys. Take care, and God bless. Boom.